Hello everyone, Luke here. Welcome back to another MyTeam video where we're going to try and continue our great run of point scoring form at the moment with round 9 of the Formula 1 season, the Canadian Grand Prix. If you weren't with us for the last video around Azerbaijan, we managed to finish in 9th place, a better result than I was expecting. What that means for the championship is we are down to 10th place. Perez did get ahead of us, and you can see it is all beginning to close up a bit in that midfield. Quite a few others scoring points as well. The team are still in 7th, but Alfa Romeo and Alfa Tauri are beginning to show a bit more form, so maybe we need to start improving our car to avoid dropping behind them. But let's see how we can do around Canada. Can we manage to get into the points once again? Let's get qualifying underway then here for the Canadian Grand Prix in Montreal. See if we can get a similar performance to what we did in Baku for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, where we qualified in 13th. One man I'll be hoping to beat is Lando Norris in the McLaren. He is our new rival for the next 7 or 8 races, I believe. In qualifying, it might be hard to finish ahead of him, but they do seem to drop back in the race to McLaren, so hopefully I'll be able to perform well in the race once again. We are actually a long way down the order at the moment, so we're going to have to find a lot of time into that chicane. Went in a bit deep, but seems to have gained me at least one position. Let's see what we can do. Need to be careful coming into the hairpin. You want to take a later apex because it's very easy to just understeer on the way out of that corner, and we do seem to have gained a lot of time around there, so that is good for us. DRS open. This will be the main overtaking opportunity in the race, using DRS and then heading towards the Wall of Champions chicane. I'm just going to take it a bit easier than I perhaps would ideally like to do for pace, but that didn't go too bad. 110.764, that is good enough to put us in, not first, 14th position. So similar to what we did last time out in Baku. Very pleased with how that qualifying session went.
Finished, it's time to remind ourselves of our top 3. Hamilton, Leclerc and Sebastian Vettel. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
You can see Alfa Tauri and Alfa Romeo both getting a car into the top 10, which is fairly surprising. Lando Norris struggling way down in 18th, so that's good news for us. And Dorian at the back of the grid, not really a performance he wants to be putting in, seeing as his contract's due for renewal soon. But let's get the race underway. Let's see how we can do.
We're back once again beside the St. Lawrence River here in Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix. The event first moved to a variant of this track back in 1978. It was won by none other than Gilles Villeneuve, the first Canadian to ever win his home race, and in whose honour the circuit would be renamed. It's one of the fastest races of the season here at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve, with around 60% of this 2.7-mile circuit taken at full throttle. There are 14 corners to navigate, the very last of which has its very own infamous history. Could be the cause of a safety car today. Alongside me once again for coverage of today's race, it's none other than the great Anthony Davidson. Why don't we start by talking about Valtteri Bottas? That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and starting alongside him P2 is Sebastian Vettel. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Verstappen, Lance Stroll and Ocon, Kvyat, Albon, Giovinazzi and Carlos Sainz. Hamilton, they've taken a grid penalty. Gasly, the owner driver, and Magnussen, Ricciardo, Raikkonen, Lando Norris and George Russell, Grosjean, Latifi, Boccolacci and Sergio Perez completes our grid. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
So it is quite overcast here in Canada. Thankfully, there isn't any rain forecast, and we've also gained a position on the grid thanks to Sergio Perez's grid penalty. So we are up to 13th on the grid, so that gives us a better chance of finishing in the points. We are going to be going for a 2-stop strategy today: medium, and then soft tyres at the end, so might need to do a lot more overtaking than I have done in previous races, which should make it a bit more fun for me and should make it a bit more fun for you guys. So let's get this over way. Can we continue our run of points here at the Canadian Grand Prix? We are away then for the Canadian Grand Prix, a fairly decent start. Let's see if we can dive it down the inside of a couple of cars here. I am on the medium tyres. Seems like everyone around me is on the soft, so that might make it slightly harder to gain places in these early stages. And you can see there, Pierre Gasly just able to hold us off for now. Need to really keep up with these guys ahead. They will be a lot more quicker at this stage in the race. So we came very close there to wiping out Kevin Magnussen behind me. In the Haas, let's use a bit of overtake down this straight to ensure he doesn't really become a threat into the next chicane. So yeah, we have maintained position. Normally we go forward at the start of races, and we've only been able to really hold position so far. You can see that those front guys are already beginning to get away. This is similar to what happened in Azerbaijan. The front guys were so much quicker than me.
We've held position on lap 1. That's not great, but it's not terrible. Stay focused.
They were so much quicker than me in the early stages, which was not ideal, but that should mean I'm faster at the end of the race. That is what this strategy is all about. I am closing up ever so slightly to Pierre Gasly, but I think I'll wait a bit before I decide to go for an overtake on him. Maintained position though, as we head towards the end of lap 1, 13th place.
Right, we need to get past here. Use overtake. Use overtake.
Got a much better run out of that hairpin, and I'm going to get DRS as well, so this should be a straightforward pass on Pierre Gasly, who's trying to hold on there. But you can see once I put the overtake on and the DRS, that is straightforward for me up into 12th place, and it was a good job I did that then as well, because Ricciardo was really starting to close
The
on.
teammate behind is 5.7 seconds.
I didn't want Ricciardo catching up to me because he could be a threat later on in the race. So we've got ahead of Gasly. Now let's see if we can just hang on to the back of these guys and get some DRS off them. It looks like Giovinazzi is holding Hamilton and Sainz up ever so slightly.
You're losing a small amount of time to the car behind. Keep pushing.
Definitely going to have to try something like that, going around the outside again into turn 2. Every lap I seem to get closer and closer to making it work, but that's really the only place I can get even part of a car alongside the McLaren. And as usual, I'm a bit better on the brakes than some of these guys, but that probably costs me on corner exit. This is going harder than I thought it was. I really thought the McLaren would have sailed past Giovinazzi, and I think once he gets past, it shouldn't be too long before I follow as well. But being stuck in this train means your tyres aren't lasting as long, don't do as well. You see, we're not really dropping the others behind us as well, Gasly and Ricciardo. We have got a much better exit though this time around, but just can't get alongside on the run into the hairpin, and that's what's cost you. So I'm going to try and take a better line into the hairpin as Giovinazzi finally comes into the pit. So maybe next time around might be able to have a go at Sainz as well. We've got a few others coming in.
Keep it up.
That puts us up into 9th position. Got a much better exit out of the hairpin once again, so I should be able to get alongside the McLaren and down the inside, even if he is coming into the pits. Don't think that's going to make a difference. I am ahead through the chicane, and I'm now going to move quite a long way up the order. I'm actually up into 3rd place.
The pit window. You'll be on the mediums.
I'm up into 3rd place, but I think pretty much everyone around me has pitted, and you can see Bottas all over the back of me at this moment in time as well. So
Dorian is coming in for his stop.
Dorian's into the pits. I've got another couple of laps to go on these tyres, and we'll see where I come out after that first pit stop. coming into the pits then on this lap for our first pit stop of the race. That was marginal at the pit line, I think, there, but just about okay. So first pit stop, we are going to drop behind quite a few cars here, so I'll be surprised if we come out in 12th or 13th. I think we might end up being a bit lower, but we'll have to see here.
Exit
Decent pit stop from the team. The pit lane here feeds you out into the middle of turn 2, so it might actually be close.
We're doing one more stop today.
A few of these guys as they get some wheel spin coming out of the pit lane. So have come out in 11th, ahead of Sainz, but behind Giovinazzi. He did obviously no pit a couple of laps before us, as did Carlos Sainz, to be fair, so we'll see how this works. Sainz is actually on the soft tyres again, so I expect him to be very quick at this point in the race. But after our first pit stop, 11th position, currently less than 2 seconds off the points. You see, we've closed up onto the back of Giovinazzi, but we have more Carlos Sainz with us, so we're in that queue again, 10th, 11th and 12th. This time, me and Carlos are in a slightly different order. We've both got DRS obviously, so that should negate it for us two. My aim is to get past the Alfa Romeo a bit quicker than he did last time around. Very fast through that chicane though is Carlos. He might even try and move
really
down
good.
the inside here into the hairpin, and I might be forced to go very deep and just try and cut back on the exit. Just about cover that off for now, but I'm spending a lot more time defending here than I am actually attacking, which is never ideal. Just about held that off for now though. Really need to nail this chicane though. Get a good run out to maybe have a go into turn 1. Not quite close enough here. Is he going to feel the need to defend? Can I send one up the inside into turn 1? I've got that position done, and I think the McLaren's going to try and follow through as well. So I am up into the points now. 10th position. Bit of free air as well to make best use of these medium tyres. We are now seeing a few drivers make their second, presumably final pit stops of the race, so we jumped Ocon because of that. You can see Hamilton come out marginally ahead of us, pulling away slightly from Carlos Sainz now, just because his tyres will be wearing a bit more, so I don't think it'll be too long before he comes into the pits in the McLaren. But that has promoted us, that pit stop period, up into 9th place. We will drop, obviously, when we make our pit stop, but I'll have expected us to have gained a few more positions by the time that comes.
We think we may see some rain. ETA is about 15 minutes.
Just being told by Jeff
in the pits.
that we may actually get some rain in this race,
3 seconds.
which is not ideal, but hopefully shouldn't come until after the race is finished, so hopefully it won't affect us. He said about 15 minutes, so we might get away with that. As you can see here, Verstappen should just be able to breeze past, and I don't really think it's worth me fighting that battle at this moment in time, so he moves himself up into 5th position. Got to keep an eye on the pace of Albon and Kvyat to see how they do, because they've made their last pit stop and they are on the medium tyres, whereas I will be coming out on the softs. So another 2 laps to do until I come into the pits, and I'm now into 6th position. Time then for our final pit stop of the race. So let's see where we come out after this pit stop. I imagine we're going to be behind Albon and Kvyat, and I think there's a few cars battling not too far behind Kvyat. I think there's a Renault and a Racing Point involved in that, so I'm guessing that's Ocon and Stroll. Probably be behind all those, but I believe I will be on faster tyres than them, so this could be interesting, hopefully.
That was our last stop. No more
Could be pretty
scheduled
close
pit
with
stops.
Sainz actually coming out the pit lane as well, so see if I can just about hold ahead of the McLaren. We're out in 10th place and we're on faster tyres than those around us. Let's have some fun for the final 9 laps of this race. We are now
The rain
in
is a few
DRS
laps out
range.
yet, but it is coming. Be careful.
But a bit like at the start of the race, Stroll has it as well, because he's on the back of Kvyat. As I actually give him a nudge through the chicane there. This could get very tight very quickly. I might just have to back out here to avoid getting wiped out by these two that are battling up ahead. Can I go all the way around the outside? That's not going to work, but Stroll's now got ahead of Kvyat, so I think the AlphaTauri is definitely the slower of these guys, so we need to get ahead, try and catch back up to Stroll, maybe even down the inside into this chicane here. Unconventional overtaking manoeuvre, but that's what I've got to do if I want to beat Stroll and then see if I can catch up to Ocon. But now,
Nice move. Good job.
now we're up into 9th. Closing in on Lance Stroll, going to go down the inside once again into the corner, in the inside in turn 1. That's got rid of him, so we're up into 8th, a lot quicker than I would have expected. Just hopefully these tyres will stick in good condition, because we have caught up to Ocon quite a lot. We actually set the fastest final sector of anyone on that previous lap, so we're really flying around. Wouldn't surprise me.
5 laps of fuel remaining.
Wouldn't surprise me if we're matching Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull for pace at the moment, just because we've got the better tyres on. Can I, in the final 4 laps, catch up to Ocon and blow the rain hold off?
Gap to car in front is 1.6 seconds.
Again, got a pretty good exit out of the hairpin, but running low on ERS, so I can't really catch up to him on the way into the chicane. Get a lot of wheel spin on the way out as well. I think I've already got past the best of these soft tyres, but I am closing up to Ocon. Still got 3 laps to go, but this could go right down to the wire as to who finishes in 7th place. Verstappen out of the session. That's going to promote us up at least 1 place, but it does probably mean there's going to be
Caution,
yellow flags on the way into the
No
chicane.
overtaking through the caution zone. Be careful until you see the greens.
That ended any chance I had
the
of
incident
overtaking
has
there.
been cleared. Let's get back up to racing speed.
2 laps to go then. This is going to be very close actually as to whether I actually manage to get ahead of Ocon. But just save a bit of ERS on this lap. I should have a better chance down the straight, but we've also got Stroll now starting to catch us up. Use the fuel instead of using the electrical energy and then power down the main straight using both of them. That's going to be the plan. See if I can get ahead of this Renault with just over a lap to go at the moment then. All about getting a good exit through this hairpin. See, I'm better on the brakes than him. Now we just unleash everything. Can we do it? We are a lot closer than we've been to a while on Esteban Ocon, and I don't think he's going to have anything to defend with. A sweep around the inside, late on the brakes into the chicane. There we go, going on to the final lap. Wasn't the cleanest one through the chicane, but you do get a double dose of DRS, which is quite nice.
This is your final lap of the race.
Final lap of the race. Got plenty of spare fuel to just help me defend, because now obviously he'll have DRS, but we're up to 6th position. That is an extremely impressive performance from us so far. Now just need to keep it clean and keep it calm
The gap to the car ahead
for the
is
final lap of the
13.8
race.
seconds.
Vettel takes the victory. Verstappen's retirement promoting us up into 6th place. I did think 7th might be the best we could manage, but that was obviously assuming all the big 3 teams finished. So despite qualifying still not being our strong point, I do seem to be able to manage his tyres pretty well, as the rain has just started to come down here. Just started raining,
Showing
so
a clear patch on its way. There's about 10 more minutes of this rain.
it's not going to have any effect whatsoever. We do come down through the final chicane then for the 35th time in this race, and we do finish in 6th place, and that's another 8 points for the team. Very good performance.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
That's it then for another magnificent Canadian Grand Prix, and they've hung on to take a sublime victory here today.
Yeah, that was a very good race from us. I was a
Ferrari
bit
are at
worried
it
at the
again.
start.
An excellent performance at today's
As we
Grand
see the
Prix,
podium,
and they're
Ferrari
certainly a
1-2
team
and
that
Bottas
know
getting
what they're
third
doing
after
out there.
Hamilton's penalty, so I think that'll be Bottas still in the lead of the championship. But yeah, that race did go pretty well for myself. Get some nice XP for the podium pass, so that is going to bump us up to level 24, I believe. We'll be able to get most of the way through there as well, I think. Oh, all the way up to 25, so we do unlock the new United flag livery. I might put that on the car at some point.
It's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. More points for Valtteri Bottas, further solidifying his lead at the top of the table. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for Driver of the Day?
I'm going to give it to the owner-driver today. They demonstrated a very delicate touch in close proximity to other cars, as well as showing a lot of maturity and patience in difficult situations.
It's time to check out the Constructors' standings. Our championship leaders retain their position, but their lead is shrinking. Meanwhile, AlphaTauri's strong weekend allows them to continue their march up the table. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
So as Crofty mentioned, Mercedes' gap has shrunk, AlphaTauri has moved up one position. We've stayed in 7th, but we are closing that gap on McLaren and actually Racing Point after that race. I think Renault are definitely going to be too far away, so we'll have to keep upgrading the car to make sure we can keep this pace up, otherwise they will be able to move away with us. And we are back up to 9th in the Drivers' Championship, now tied on points with Daniel Ricciardo, so you can see done pretty well there. Sainz also jumping Perez. In terms of race results, I was given Driver of the Day, which is always a nice feeling. Dorian, last position. It's not looking good for him, I'm going to say, if I do decide to keep him or maybe change another driver, because we are coming up to contract renewal time. But I'm sure now I'll have a few interview questions with Claire to ask about how that race went.
Great work out there today. Let's have your thoughts. You gained a lot of positions during the race, didn't you?
I did gain a lot of positions during the race. It was great because the car was sticking to the track.
You really looked in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled.
Make the team feel good. They might all get a bit happier, and there's less chance about them feeling bad. I know I said Alfa Romeo worked hard, but I mean, it didn't really rain, did it? So I can't feel that uncomfortable in the wet weather because it was basically bone dry until the final lap and a bit. So yeah, I expected Alfa Romeo to do better. I was just saying that before Claire got the final question in. I thought Giovinazzi would be more of a threat, but he seemed to really struggle at the start. Not that I'm too bothered. See, there we are now winning the rivalry with Lando 4-2 after that race. So let's see how the team McLean does. I'm up to driver level 8. The team is just down, so not quite on level 10, which would allow us to get another sponsor, but we've got quite a few money off the sponsors, so that is going to help us upgrade the car ready for round 10 of the season. Next time around, it will be the French Grand Prix. Can we continue this run of points? Will the other teams get any better around the Paul Ricard circuit? We'll have to wait and see, because I did not expect going into Canada to finish in 6th position. We do seem to be doing a bit better in qualifying, which is always good. We do seem to be slightly improved in qualifying. Thank you so much everyone for watching. Leave a like and subscribe and a comment if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time around for round 10 of the My Team series at the French Grand Prix. Goodbye.